Maree was a ballroom dancer. You know, if you watch Dancing with the Stars, in fact, go and watch a replay of Strictly Ballroom and you'll see her dancing in the background. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but go and watch it. It's an awesome show. A life lived in fear is a life half lived. Remember that. Secondly, Jeff was actually a rock star. He was actually in a band called Railroad Gin. And Carol Lloyd, one of Australia's first lady of rock, was actually the lead singer. So pretty cool backgrounds you two have to come together and now be having success dynamics. Very non-traditional paths into having your own business. So tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Well, basically put, Kevin, we've been living our own lives. We had Maree working in the business, in the government. I was trying to be a teacher. I was trying to learn things, and then we had opportunity to learn something new, which was totally away from what we expected. We got stuck into it. We spent 5 years traveling and studying and researching all this, and we've just grown our own material from that point. So I think we're quite unique. Yeah.
I think also with Jeff, he's got the psychology, a lot of training. I've actually had the experience working in government for 20 years. I've actually got so much experience that together as a team, we actually can put these packages together to help a lot of people in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And you had to leave the government to learn how to communicate.
I know.
Wow. Little bit of bias shown there, but we won't talk too much about that. So what we do want to talk about is basically by understanding more about yourself, you can start to understand others better. And we all, we know that to be true. Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich talks about, the better you understand yourself, the more you're going to understand others. So you guys have a quick little test that you made me do beforehand, and you've got some results on that. We'll talk a little bit about that. But there's so many different profiling tools out there, and look, they all have some awesome strengths and they all have some limitations. Tell us a little bit about the profiling tool that you guys use and how that can help people.
Well, Kevin, the thing about ours is that we're the only one that actually links back to the source of all profile testing, which is I Ching, Chinese science.
They all come from I Ching. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. Trust me.
Because you can't decipher it.
Who can read Chinese? But no, it's true, because most of them, like DISC, etc., were based on what Carl Jung did. Because everyone knows Carl Jung is the father of all this, but Carl Jung got his inspiration by reading the I Ching.
I knew that. I've heard that rumor before.
And what happened was that Roger Hamilton, who wrote the first test that we based our stuff on, is half Chinese, half Scottish. So he made it his business to go back to the I Ching, learn it, create a system that really explains in depth exactly how people work and think, because it's like nature, it's all flow. And so,
did you just say Roger Hamilton is half Chinese and half Scottish?
Half Chinese, half Scottish, yeah.
What sort of accent would he have? We won't go into that today, but it'd be amazing to hear. I don't think I'd decipher a word of it, but let's focus on the content, because that is really cool. So what are the 5 different personalities?
Well, actually, we're talking here about what we call energy or frequency, not a personality. Because we have their opinion. Like, you can give a name for personality, and this, for example, has 4. We have 8, but we prefer to also focus in on what the energy is, because the energy we measure in percentages, and we can get a very accurate picture of how a person is thinking, acting, behaving. A name is just a name, after all. So we actually prefer, and the little test that you did is actually a very baby test compared to what we normally do, and it just gave us some energy percentages on those 4 basic things and 4 questions. So your profile was really fascinating. I've got to give you that. It was fascinating.
I like to think I'm fascinating, but not many other people do. So tell us a little bit more about the energy types that you've got, so that people can start imagining a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, before Maree jumps in, I think I'll let her explain more, but basically they're connected to nature, as in the seasons and elements in nature. So it's very fundamental, and it's all about how things flow together. Would you like to mention something?
Okay. So the 4 energies that we use are in relation to the 4 seasons, the spring, summer, autumn, winter. And it all starts with spring, and you have to go in that cycle. We have cycles and destructive cycles. And, so with those cycles, within those seasons, we actually have three profiles. And so there are 8 all up. But this particular test this short test would actually give you one of the 4 cycles.
It's meant to be short and sweet because it's a bit of fun as well. It's accurate, but it's fun because people come to workshops and they've got this bit of paper and they're excited to see what it means. And so, you know, it's a good conversation starter, any workshop or any conversation.
It's actually quite fun. You, Kevin and Jeff are in the spring, and that's
lovely.
That's
all. It's time for new beginnings. It's awesome.
Exactly right.
Which is right now. It's time for new beginnings right now.
Yeah. And I'm actually
lambs. I love lambs.
And I'm actually opposite you guys. Yeah. I'm actually very earth. So I actually keep you guys grounded. Excellent. So you guys are up with all the ideas and that all the time, and I'm actually the sensitive one, the sensory person. So I actually make sure that you are grounded, and it's all about timing for me. So if it's not the right time to do something,
I get in trouble.
I actually tell you, yeah.
Now it's the right time for everything, let me tell you. Who was it? Peter, Paul and Mary told us there was a time for everything. Anyway.
They did. I wasn't there when they said it, but I believe they said it, yeah.
So did the Bible, but we won't go into all those things right now. So tell us a little bit more about how can I find out a little bit more about myself from the tests that you've done? So does a report come out? Do I get... What results? Because I only did it literally just before we got on air. So, you know, there's not a lot that I can tell right.
Yeah. You've got to keep in mind, this is just a little snapshot. So we've got, what's that, when I say the link below type of thing? I think there's a link that people can jump on board and quickly let us know they want the test and they will get it. This is how it looks in the finish. Kevin, that's what you've got. And of course it goes into all sorts of stuff in here. You can't see that.
Did you send me something, did you?
Yeah, you've got it. Oh, yeah.
Awesome. See, I haven't even seen the email yet. That's how recently I did that. And it did. I was all in the spring there. That's pretty amazing. Not much else.
Yeah, because the idea we have to understand is, unlike other systems, we are focusing purely on this profile as a starting point, right? The profile itself is just a profile. It's what you can do with the profile, what you can use from the profile that makes a difference to people. So, you know, like to know your name is lovely, but what does it mean? How do I use it? How is it different to my learn behaviors, my model behaviors, my external influences that affected my values, my passions? We go through all these. So it's a really good tool to start a learning curve.
Excellent, excellent. So finding out that I'm all about spring, I'm all about new beginnings. I love starting stuff.
Yeah.
What are my challenges?
Your challenges, my good man, are like mine. That's finishing something. You're probably keen to keep on looking for new ideas and things to move on with, so that you're more likely than, say, Maree, for example, to actually not finish something because you've moved your mindset and your ideas to a new idea. And the problem with people like you and me is that we tend to hold on to that too much when we should be saying, next profile, what can you do now that'll take it further? So we need to know when to stop and let go.
Yeah. And look, quite often in different things that I've done, I love coming up with new ideas. I love coming up with new concepts. I love the reinterpreting different stuff, which is fantastic, and that's all good fun. And it is about finishing. One thing that we'll never finish, and that's Brisbane small business. Obviously, we've done quite well about keeping that together, and it is right now. We do have a real duty to all small business owners to help this community be fantastic. So that would be fantastic. So tell me a little bit about each of those 4 major areas so that everyone's got just a quick little takeaway if they identify with one or the other. Yeah. So spring, you love new stuff, you love new ideas, you love starting stuff.
Yeah, you do. Head in the clouds. Energy next is fire. Is summer, and summer is it's a lot of noise, activity, fun. They like to be around people in gatherings and having variety in what they do. So they're the people that'll be, a good team leader as well for obvious reasons, because they like gathering people together. And the bottom where Maree is, that's the autumn, which is very grounded type people, very down to earth people. So they're more sensory and they're more likely to be nurturing type people and service-based people. Whereas going to the next one around the side, which is the last one, which is winter, obviously, these are your analytical types. These are the people that like to know how. How does this work? What are the figures? Show me the figures. The old-fashioned saying, show me the money if you wish. So each of those, and that's very brief, but each of those has a function to go through, and each of those works together when you have the right team. So by themselves, any profile, any energy is good, but together they become great.
Fantastic. So, as I said, like, these are just labels, and it is just how we answer the report on the particular day. And that's a really important thing to remember about different things. But understanding what strengths should come from the natural energy you bring is very, very important. So I really do appreciate that. I can't wait to get that report, I've got to say. I think it will be really quite helpful and give us a lot of information.
You will see there, when you actually do the test, we actually give you a percentage of which season you are or energy you are.
So it kind of looks like I'm 99%.
You're right at the top.
You're 70% up the top.
Only 70. Excellent. I don't feel so one-dimensional at all anymore. That is good. So if people are interested in finding out, so what are the things that we can use when we do understand ourselves a little bit better?
Well, that's quite simple, because we need to learn then about ourselves and all the parts to us. So it doesn't just help at home with your partner or your kids. It helps in the workplace, because when you think about it, you have an owner, you have employees, you have clients. Each of those are an organisation itself. Each of those have their own identity and their own, if you like, characteristics. And so it's very important as business owners that we understand those characteristics and know how they work together, so we value them together. So the point being that, you know, like, it's a learning curve. I know this. I know how, for example, Joe feels. I understand why he says what he says now, and we can work on that together. I'm going to talk to a client. How can I talk to the client that is natural for me as best as possible, but how to identify how that person would think, so I can make my language fit what he or she would understand, so they get a great return for what their investment is in the time and money they're spending. So it's you know, it's just a matter of, you know, like, it's a no-brainer to me, correct? It's a no-brainer, because it's a starting point for understanding yourself before understanding those around you, and that creates trust. Trust creates value.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Maree.
So I've got to try to get a word.
You're allowed to talk too.
Thank you. It's also about in our climate that we're in now, where there is a lot of uncertainty. Now is the time to find out what you really love, what you really are passionate about. There's no use staying in a job where there's uncertainty. You're doing a job that you just making you sick to do, and this test will actually help you and guide you to something that you are so passionate about. And this is, I am a good example of this over the years. I'm finding out now what I can do. So we actually help people grow their natural talents, and you know, so that you can actually just get out there and help so many people. And when even this topic is all about sales, it's not about selling something, it's actually about giving a service.
Well, at the end of the day, we're always, you know, people like to say that people like to feel that sales is a bad thing, because none of us love to be sold, right?
No.
However, we all love to buy. So here's the irony that we've got. And the more you understand yourself, the more you can understand how you can help others come down that road so they can be in a position where they're ready to buy, which is fantastic. I'm can't wait to get off and actually read that report and find out a little bit more about myself. What we'll do is you guys will put in the link here below. You'll put in a link. Very first comment will be, here's a bit.ly link to go and get a free download, a free report. As people do those reports and send them back to you, then you'll get them analysed so that they can find out more about themselves. Pretty close to instantly. I literally only filled out the report within an hour before this particular show, and already the report is there, so that's fantastic. Then you'll be able to find out a little bit more about yourself. Does it talk more about the other styles of people within that report?
In this short one, we do mention briefly, but keep in mind that the full assessment is way more comprehensive. But obviously, that's a different story. That's why we'll give you enough insight to get started. That's the main thing.
Cool. And you're going to run a little workshop that's going to help people understand more about themselves.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
for anyone that does the report, you'll send them more information about that, so they can learn more about all of the different types of people that you guys that you have in this particular profiling. Because the more understanding a little bit about where you are is one thing, but when you start to understand how that works in conjunction with others, that's where the true power is. So, so Jeff and Maree will be running a workshop on that. Have you got a date for that yet?
Not as much, I think, because we were looking at venues. Now, because of the situation, we will be doing online workshops, which I think a lot of people will be happy about. We will be doing a series of them because of.
It's hard to get within 2 meters of someone online. I've got.
I know Jeff and I are too close to each other, so I'll have to go back into my office now.
Absolutely, we're fostering very unsafe practices, squashing you two into a little area. I look like I've got so much room, and you're both I wish there was a way that we could have expanded, but it's above my pay grade to do that. So, guys, thank you very much for your time today. If anyone is interested in finding out a little bit more about themselves, what will be the drivers of some of the decisions that you've made that you may think are a little bit crazy, looking back over time. I love these different personality profiles, these energy types, because you always learn something new about yourself. And as you uncover something, sometimes you find out, hey, that is something that I've been doing more recently that I never used to do. Why am I doing that all of a sudden? So it's really cool to find out that sort of stuff. So Jeff, Maree, I really do appreciate you giving up your time today to talk a little bit more about it. I do like the seasons. I love the fact that I'm, part of spring, because I really do feel right now there is a fantastic opportunity for people to really recreate their business in a way that will be operating differently from how it did before. And with that will come so many opportunities for all of us. So really, thank you very much today. Please don't hesitate to download the link, to download the profile test. It literally takes 5 to 10 minutes tops. Don't overanalyze it as you do it, but be consistent. If you're answering it as your work self, answer it all as your work self. Don't be schizophrenic as you do it. That's my one bit of advice. Thanks, guys. I'll get you guys to put the comment in below with the link. And then from there, we'll forward all of that information as people are doing that straight through to you. So thanks very much for your time.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, thank you, Maree.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'll catch you soon.
Bye.
Bye.